Okay, so today I feel like being a bit more vulnerable and sharing my story for the last year and a half. Just because I know a lot of you are going through changes, and oftentimes when we go through these changes, it can feel like we're the only ones and that everybody else is living this beautiful, fulfilled life. And here we are going through these drastic changes, and no one else is experiencing them. But I've been talking to a lot of people, and I understand that actually a lot of us are going through changes, which is why, for like my collective readings, it's all been about changes and how a lot of us actually have gone through a very similar journey. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of like put this out there to be like, listen, if you're going through hard times yourself and you're moving through the unknown, you're not the only one. There's so many of us going through this right now. Yes, there's some people that it's like more intensive than others, but truly, we're all going through it, guys. Each and every single one of us. So, literally last year, I did not think I was going to be in this place that I am. Even 2 years ago, I never thought about me being where I am. But that's the thing about plans is you never know. You never know where life is making you go. For your highest good. I always believe that. But yeah, it for me, this shift and this change started about a year and a half ago. Basically, of December of 2023, I was married to my ex-husband then, and I felt a shift then of December of 2023, but that was like the first shift. And it started to be more intense, and I was getting a lot of intuitive and synchronistic impulses and signs that my relationship was ending. It was coming to a completion, right? Because ultimately, my relationship, there was nothing quote unquote wrong. Of course, every relationship has their things, just like any relationship. But like on the surface, for everybody, like it looked like pretty okay relationship, just like, yeah, whatever. um but I just started to feel something intuitively in me, and this is when I started to become very aware of signs and synchronicities. I always was, but this was like nonstop. Every single day I was getting signs and synchronicities that I needed to, or I was going to leave my marriage. Like it was ending. Our relationship was just coming to a completion. And at first I was just like noticing the signs. I was like, well, let's see what happens, right? But again, as time moved on, the synchronicities signs increased and the feeling also increased with it. And I remember of March of 2024, I went on a work trip and I came back, and I knew then. I knew that something moved through my body that was like, you're like going to get a divorce. Like it was such a clear signal. And I actually remember on the plane, I actually grieved a little bit then because I'm like, oh wow, like this was an unexpected feeling, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is happening. And again, as time moved on, it got stronger, more clear. Um, my ex-husband and I just started naturally, like our energies were just moving away from each other. And I even started questioning the vision that we both had together. And I started questioning my own vision, my own goals, my own passion. And I remember I was spending a lot of time in nature then, and I still do. But I do remember being on a hike in the forest and like literally throwing my hands up in the air and being like, you know what? I give up on my vision, my dreams, my goals. What maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the best thing is for me. Maybe the higher power, the universe, the divine has something that's better for me that I'm not even made aware of and I can't even fathom because it's something like much, much bigger than I can see. And so I said, I release my vision, my goals. I release it all because if it's really meant for me, I'll go there anyway and great. But if it's not meant for me, then something else will come in. Something better will come in for me where I'll start to feel fulfilled. And see, the funny thing is like I wasn't feeling fulfilled during this time. I really wasn't, and that's why I was starting to question like what it seems like everything is pretty okay for me. I have my horse because I was riding all the time and I had my own horse. Had a house, husband, actually a really good job that I enjoyed. And everything seemed like pretty perfect. And I actually remember when I got my dream dog, that's actually when it kind of like started to shake things up because my dream dog was always a Great Dane. And months prior to December 2023, I finally got my dream dog. And I remember looking at her and I'm like, I don't feel happy. I don't feel like I feel okay, cool, whatever. And that's, I think, when it really started to shake things up like, hey, am I really living the life that I'm supposed to be living? Like, why don't I feel expansive about it? And so, anyway, that's kind of like how it, I think my dog really started to shake things up because I just started to realize, like, I live 10 minutes from my horse. I can see my horse all the time. I'm literally kind of living my dream. Not that I was where I wanted to be officially, but still, like in a way, like can't really complain, right? But something internally was off, right? And so anyway, kind of fast forward to, I started to choose myself. I started to want to come back to my heart because what I started to realize was nothing external was actually making me happy. Nothing outside of me was making me happy. And so I went on a journey of coming back into my own heart. And I kind of mentioned that, I believe, in the video that I made about why I left my coaching career, which this is all tied in, but I don't want to go back to talking about that and tying in. No, just this is the last year and a half, right? So if you want to watch about why I left my coaching business, you could watch that video because I made a separate video for that. But yeah, I knew that I needed to come back to my own heart. See, that was an intention that I made of December of 2023. It's really, I do these intentions all the time, and it's really interesting to see at the end of the year like what comes in and what doesn't, because sometimes what doesn't, it's like, okay, whatever. But I ultimately wrote something about like having a better relationship with my husband, or, well, I didn't write or, but I said also healing my heart. But it's funny because everything that I wrote was under those kind of two categories of relationship, kind of like personal life stuff and healing stuff. And literally, I went towards healing completely. And yeah, I started to like travel on my own, discover myself again. come back to my heart. So that's when I went on my solo trip to Calgary. When I came back from that, that was like a confirmation between my husband and I that, like, yeah, this was done. It's over. Our relationship has come to a completion. And then I went to Dr. Joe. And again, like, this was a journey of reclaiming myself and coming back into my own heart and literally jumping into the unknown. Like, I was following my heart and my intuition and all the signs and synchronicities that I was getting from the divine about, what I should do, where I should go, etc., etc. And I literally, it was like every step of my path and my way, I never knew where it was headed. And I still don't. I'm still in this place of like, I don't know what's next. And a lot of people are in this like in between space of like leaving so much of the old, and they're starting to come into the new, but they're not quite there yet. And it's still very like, it's literally the analogy of like being a newborn baby, into coming to this like new world, this new reality, this new life, and they still don't know what's ahead. Like, it's exciting, but at the same time, it's scary. And this has literally been my whole year and a half of constantly diving into the unknown, pretty much falling and not knowing whether I'd be caught, not knowing what was going to happen. And I remember when I came back from Dr. Joe, and I also did a little bit of a US trip. When I came back, because then it was like to figure out between my ex-husband and I, like, what was next. I literally thought I'd be moving to a different province or something. But I was starting to feel into my job dissolving, which that ended up happening. And I was like, well, this is great and unexpected. Wow, okay. And this was actually at the end of October. And I was like, well, this puts me in a weird spot because what now? But looking back, I guess I didn't realize from December of 2024 to February of 2025, I went into like the darkest nights of my soul of like purging everything I needed to purge, of healing and transmuting and feeling everything I was suppressing that I didn't even know I was suppressing. And I'm smiling, but it wasn't an easy thing. It truly wasn't. That was a full-time job. I've realized that I couldn't have a job then because my healing of purging and closing out old cycles and chapters was literally a full-time job. It's like as soon as I would heal something or like release something, another thing would come. And then when that would happen, then another thing would and I was like, what is going on? Like, it was not easy at all. But yeah, it ultimately brought me to transmuting a lot of things, which feels way better now. Still things come up for me, but they're not as dark. They're not as intense as they were back then. Um and I moved out of the home I was living, and I moved in with my mom because I still don't have anything. Like, I'm still looking for stuff, and I'm now creating. I'm literally being guided by my own intuition of like, okay, being guided to help people once again, because again, like I said, I had a life coaching business, but I knew something was missing, and I understand what it was. It was the embodiment. It was coming back into the heart. It was understanding of how to actually heal your traumas and your pain, because I literally went through that, and I understood why I had to go through everything I went through, because I needed to understand what people were going to go through when they were healing their stuff, when they were going through like when they're going through their own stuff, and it's not an easy thing. And it's like spirit wanted me to understand that it's like this is not easy. Healing is not easy. Like, it's a simple method, but it's not an easy thing to do, because to feel everything that you've been suppressing, that's sometimes not even yours but your ancestors, that is not an easy thing to do. And so now I'm like back in this space of like, all right, I'm still not on stable ground. I'm still very much in the unknown. I still don't know where exactly my path is headed. I can feel into it, and it feels good. It feels juicy. It feels like there's something about to sprout, and I do feel like for a lot of you that's exactly the case as well. And I'm saying this again, being like, it's not easy. Definitely it's not easy to be in the unknown. It's not easy to live from the unknown. It's not easy to follow your heart and your intuition, right? Because your intuition, your heart will say this way, and this way often means so many unknown variables. It means overcoming challenges and obstacles, but ultimately to learn that, like, you're going to get through them. You're going to get on the other side, right? This is like an initiation to the next level of who you need to become. And yeah, that's currently like where I'm at. It's like literally still in the unknown. I'm following my heart and my intuition and my guidance with like these messages that I'm putting out. um I'm following my heart and my intuition of like how to help you all through this as well, right? With, again, like my messages, the offerings that I have, like my offerings that I have put down below in the description box. And I'm still building upon that, because ultimately I would love to hold retreats where it's basically like, let's go through the embodiment of healing our stuff, for healing our traumas, for healing our pain, and holding the space for you all to safely go through that. Because I am telling you, this was not easy. Of course you can do it alone. Of course. But it's not easy. There were so many times I would have wanted to go back to the old. So many times, but I was too far into my new journey where I was like, no, I already went so far. Like, I need to keep going. I know I'm going to end up where I'm supposed to go, but this is the path of the unknown. This is the path of complete surrender, trust, and faith. It's not easy. So, yeah, I'm still very much like, I don't know. I had to release so many things. My relationship, the home I lived, cars, um, my horse, which has been my biggest passion since I was little. I had to release him because I was like, I need to figure out myself. I need to figure out my life. And I didn't want, like, all animals take energy and time to invest in, but especially horses, especially horses. And I'm the kind of person, I'm very devoted. Once I care and love for something, I pour my whole heart and spirit into that. And I knew I had to release him because I needed to start pouring all that energy and love into myself, which is what I needed, which is what my heart needed. And like I said again, it's literally becoming clearer that this is what I want to help people with, to come back to themselves, come back to their hearts, healing their hearts, feeling the goodness, the wholeness inside of themselves. Because as much as I have lost, guys, I feel so whole and complete, truly, and so free. And again, many people that know me would be looking and be like, but you've lost so much and you're not where you want to be. And it's like, yeah, I know, but this is just part of my journey. And I know I'm going to end up where I'm supposed to be, but I also feel so at peace. I feel so at peace, and I have a greater level of appreciation for the littlest of things. Truly. Like, the person that I am now is a completely different person that I was even a year and a half ago. Completely different. But yeah, I wanted to share this. And obviously, this is like a very condensed version of my whole journey because I didn't want to be talking for like an hour. But I felt called sharing this because, again, like I said, so many of us are going through this like unknown journey of leaving relationships, leaving jobs, leaving places that we have lived in, leaving our old lives and being in this unknown of like, I'm finally jumping and trusting myself, trusting spirit, trusting my intuition, trusting the unseen. And I don't think enough people talk about how it's not easy doing that. It takes every ounce of trust, faith, and surrender to follow something that you feel, but you have no idea how it's going to work out. Most people rather be in the like uncomfort of the familiar because it's safe, right? It's predictable. But yeah, I couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't silence my soul. And for a lot of us, our soul starts to like rattle the cages of like, listen, jump, jump, jump. Like, you gotta jump, you gotta go. Yes, you don't know how it's gonna work out, but this environment, this place in your life where you are now, you've outgrown it. You've outgrown it and you have to go, 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 go. And yeah, if you're in that place of like this liminal space of like the unknown, you don't know what's next, and you've left so much and you've changed so much, like, I am there with you. And I'm trying to figure out day by day and listening to my heart and my intuition. And yeah, it's not easy at all. It's not easy at all. And if you're there, I would actually love for you to share your story in the comments below, just to help people understand, like, we're all going through this. Like, a large majority of us are going through this of not really knowing what's next or how our situation will resolve. Like, I'm just living off of my savings, and that's just like going. And this has been the most calm and collected that I have like now stayed, which is very new to me. I wouldn't have been this calm and collected. I would have been like freaking out, but I'm like being centered because that's how I've been living the last couple months, is being so centered and present and embodied in my own body, of trusting the next breadcrumb on my path. Trust the next breadcrumb. Share your story because I would love to hear. I would love to hear your story and like how it's been for you. Because again, the people that I know I attract, they're in a similar situation. We're right there with each other, and it does help knowing that it's like, okay, we're in a similar boat. And like, even if you've had a little bit of success walking this path, share it because it will give hope to so many people who are moving through this like really weird unknown dark space, right? And then if you guys want to hear more about my journey and my story, let me know. Like, ask your questions down below and maybe I'll do a video about it. Or, like, how to move through these dense and heavy emotions, how to come back to your heart or whatever. Like, let me know. Put it down in the comments and I'll make more content about that, since I have literally all the time in the world now to be doing it. yeah, let me know. And I really hope this has helped in some way, shape, or form, made you feel like, no, you're not alone in this. So many of us are moving through this really big transitional times and shifts and cycles in our life. And we'll make it. We will. Just takes a bit more faith, surrender, and trust. Alrighty, I'm going to end this here. I'm sending you so much love. And yeah, please let me know how I may help you as well. Ask your questions and I'll see if I can make a video about it. Alrighty, guys, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.